Hey, welcome to Office Hours, everybody. I hope you're doing well today. What are we, June 9th, 2020. June 9th, 2020. Time is flying by as it always does. I hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to the call. Looks like we're going to get a great turnout. Very good. Welcome, Daniel, Dave, John, Kate, Kevin, Larry, Nikki, Patrick, Tim, George, Peter. Welcome. Turn on the light here, so make sure I got good light for capturing on YouTube and all that good stuff. Hey, Tim, welcome. Awesome. Well, you guys know the routine, or at least most of you know the routine by now, since we've got familiar faces on this call. These calls are all about answering your questions and helping however I can. So there's no training agenda. So that means just type in your questions, or if you'd like to be unmuted so you can chat, just raise your hand and let me know, and we'll do it that way. And it's all about you guys. So just go for it and let me know, and we'll take them as they come here. Welcome, everybody. Teresa, Bob, George, Peter, welcome. Cool. Welcome, everybody. Yes, Teresa, go ahead.
Hey, Mike.
Hey there.
I have a list of questions for you.
Fire away. I love it. Come prepared.
Okay, let me turn up the volume a little bit here. So I've been going through the training. I've missed the last couple of things, the last office hours and the last call, because we're moving. Okay,
Oh, wow.
so I'm planning to get on, and then we get a request for a showing. So I'm like, okay, well, that won't work today. But I've listened to all the recordings.
Cool.
Almost finished with all those. So I have my list of questions here. Okay, so when we move, we're moving to Pinehurst, North Carolina, which is the capital of golf for the whole world, or for the US anyway.
That sounds
Um,
nice.
yeah, so it's a chance to just restart fresh
Yeah.
as to what I'm known for. And I love working with local businesses, and I do a lot of in person networking. So
Okay.
that's kind of been my thing, getting to know people and establishing myself as a guru, not a guru, but just establishing myself in certain areas,
Sure.
online marketing, whatever you want to call it. So, when you talked in one of the trainings about renting the websites,
Yeah.
you have to build and rank them first. Do you have any good suggestions as to where we can go other than like the Yoast site for how to rank websites? SEO has never been my favorite thing. So, I'm not sure that's anything I want to really jump into unless there's a good training site.
Yeah, it's a good question. I got to tell you, SEO has never been my favorite thing either. And it's not something that I'm real comfortable with giving any advice on, because it's just,
Yeah.
other than very basic, fundamentals, I know nothing about it. Um, so, gosh, I would actually have to dig around to kind of see what's current in terms of who I would recommend. I mean, I know, the big name um, in SEO in my mind that a lot of bigger companies turn to is Neil Patel, and
Mm.
his training around SEO. I don't know, kind of at the real small business level, and anybody on the call, if you have strong suggestions. Derek says the Hoth. That's actually a great resource. Um, so you know, I would ask around in the community though, Teresa, as well. In the Facebook group, and see what you get back.
Mm.
Um, but there's a couple of suggestions coming in. So the Hoth and Bruce Clay are two
Yeah.
in the chat.
Okay. Yeah. One of my concerns there was that my internet connection might be a little unstable. One of my concerns was that if you're working with local businesses and say you build a massage spa type website, you want to rank it, there's if you're not ranking for a specific location, I don't quite get how you would do a Google My Business page, which is really important when it comes to local search. So I couldn't quite make that piece of the puzzle fit together. If you don't have a location, um, because you get reviews and pictures, and that helps with your Google My Business. and trying to get into the 3-pack and stuff like that. But um,
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, again, from an SEO perspective, like you've got to find, like the real nuance of it, particularly in certain competitive markets, and make sure you understand it. Um, I would personally, what I would probably suggest to you is either one of a few different approaches. So I know that there are, like somebody mentioned, Dave mentioned Rank and Rent Club. Like there are a number of different people out there who sell courses specifically on rank and rent in local, on the SEO side
okay,
of things. So Herc Magnus and Todd Spears, those guys do. I know. I think it's the oh gosh, who's the guy who's been selling SEO stuff forever? Michael Long. His program is very focused on SEO. Um, but so there's that approach. And if you were gonna go that route, I would invest in one of those programs so that you find somebody who's like really nitty gritty onto the technical side of SEO. Or I would consider doing a media site, like I do, where
mhm,
it's much. I mean, I get a lot of organic traffic for sure at this point, but I also am producing a lot of content and promoting a lot of content that's just bringing me tons of eyeballs every day, and then I have a lot of flexibility as to what I do with that. Um, and then the third thing would just be doing websites as a service. Could be
mhm.
an option as well. So just building up a good recurring revenue base by offering websites and services around those websites on a monthly fee instead of focusing on the ranking side of things.
Right. So that was my other thing. I'm thinking of focusing on appointment driven businesses and offering and I'm thinking it's a whole system, like a business boost appointment system,
Hmm.
but as part of the pyramid that you build, it would be easy to do the rent a website piece with having that website really plugged in to get leads and so forth, the chat widget, and of course you can include the birthday campaign. But just to have all those appointments and reminders already set up for them, that's kind of, I guess, where I'm leaning with all of this.
Yeah.
And do you think there's anything wrong with just being the appointment system niche? But then you can go for insurance agents, massage therapists, um, financial plan, anybody who has to make an appointment, plumbers, even that sort of
No, no,
thing.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's a fantastic model. Um, it's a model that's been done very, very successfully. Demand Force is the pretty famous example in our market where that was all they did was really just focus on appointment setting, and they sold for $415 million just a few years after they started. So
Mhm.
it's a very good service, good thing to focus on for sure.
So I think it would be a very affordable entry level, just the appointment system.
Yeah.
There's a lot of just plain old blue collar business
Yeah, and
in the
the
area.
nice thing about that service focus is, as you said, there's a nice entry level point because you could offer essentially, if let's say you're using Highlevel, you could offer Highlevel, as a software as a service. You could offer that plus campaigns that you've built into it and designed and things like that. You could offer management. So, hey, we're going to take this whole appointment setting process and turn it on fire for you so you don't have to deal with anything. We're going to be using these tools, these campaigns, but you're going to get our execution of it as well.
Mhm.
And then you can add on, paid ads, things like that if you want to as well to drive more people into the system every day. So you've got a whole lot of flexibility, a lot of options. You can do reactivation campaigns from their
Mhm.
existing customer database. You've got, tons of different options. So it's a really nice service area to focus on for sure because you have, as you said, a, entry-level services, but you have the full stack, and it applies to so many different types of businesses. I'm personally still a big fan of you pick a niche to focus on initially, because there
Right.
is there is nuance, right? There's difference in the campaigns from a hairdresser to a plumber,
Hmm.
right? And so we want to give ourselves the time to really develop that nuance into your system. That's when it becomes really powerful. But when you do that, then it is relatively easy to take that and expand into a new market, because they're not very different at all.
Okay. Cool. I think that's what I'm gonna do.
Cool. Good for you.
Thanks, Mike. Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. Good luck with the move. It sounds exciting.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, let's see here. Who is next, folks? And lots of good feedback from the group. I appreciate it on sharing your SEO related ideas. Cool. Lots of good stuff in there. Okay, cool. Good. Um, who's next? Who else has got a question? Go ahead and fire them in. I don't know if you saw my email today. I'll chat while I'm waiting for questions to come in here. But I shared a gentleman who's got a magic service. He provides magic shows for kids at their birthday parties, and I love, he is absolutely crushing his business right now, because he was forced to pivot because of coronavirus, and so he started doing magic shows over Zoom. And it's so funny because I'm sure at first, he was probably panicked, like, I have no idea if this is going to work or anybody's going to want a magic show over Zoom, or if you can even really engage a bunch of 7-year-old kids properly over Zoom. Like, how's that going to work? But not only has he done it well, but his business has blown up, because now you think about it, this guy lives 3 hours from San Diego, a little bit in the middle of nowhere. He had a very limited market, and limited dollars he could charge, um, given his market. People are only going to pay so much for a kid's magic show for their birthday party. But now, because he's doing them over Zoom, he's been able to expand his market nationwide, and his calendar is just booked solid, because he's getting that viral share online. And it doesn't matter if you live in San Diego, LA, or in North Carolina, you can hire him. And you think about the efficiencies now of his business model. No more driving around, right? He can end a Zoom call birthday party at quarter till, fire up the next one on the hour, and just absolutely blow up his business. So we're going to see a lot of pivots like that, and I'm super excited to see that stuff. It always thrills me, what kind of innovation comes from the constraints, right? And I'm a big believer that that's where the best stuff in business comes from. You always get the really cool innovation when you have constraints. So let's see. Derek says, how to set up a custom conversion for this. I currently have a campaign set up to get people to opt in and watch a video, and then two, get these people to then book a call. How would I go about setting and tracking people that have gone from watching the video to clicking on booking the call, but they never actually book a call, and then email and SMS them that they forgot to book? Okay. So Derek, this is all on Highlevel, I take it? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So let's see here. So they never actually. Okay. So are they to watch the video? Or are you collecting an opt-in before they watch the video?
Yeah, Mike, I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So they go to the landing page. They're forced to opt in if they want to watch the video. They go to
Yeah.
the next page. They watch the video. At that point in time, they have the option of setting up a consultation call. They click on the button. When they go to the calendar page, some of them will jump and go away. I want to be able to send an email or text message back to them saying, "Hey, you forgot to book your call. Here's the link to do it again." And I'm kind of lost.
Yeah, I think so. Let me share
But
my screen.
somebody said to do it with custom conversions via Facebook.
Nah,
Okay.
no. Hold on one second. No, what we don't want to do is overthink this.
Okay.
Let me share my screen real quick. Um, Now, what you want to do is, so let me see here. Let's go to, let me just go into, I'm sorry, let me go into triggers. I was looking at trigger links there. Let me go into triggers. So what you want to do is you're just going to have a, let me just, I have one in here someplace, but let me just create one from scratch here. So you're just going to create a trigger that says, and actually, let me think here in Highlevel with the calendaring. So, yeah, so when somebody opts in, so what you'll do is you'll say, when somebody does form submitted, and then you'll have whatever form, right?
Okay.
So form is contest funnel form, but yours is, watch the video form.
Okay.
When somebody opts into that form, what you'll do then is you'll add them to a campaign, and that campaign is your, let's see here, I actually have like meeting, or need to reschedule a campaign, whatever, schedule a meeting campaign. Okay. So you put them into this campaign, and then you could have a delay on that campaign if you want to give it a little bit of time to get started. So you don't necessarily need to, but you could wait, like a day and then follow up, right? So that campaign that gets started, and then you're just going to have another campaign that is the meeting confirmation campaign. So when somebody has actually booked their meeting, right? When they book their meeting, then they will be added to a separate campaign. When you add them to that campaign, you will also just remove them from this first campaign.
Okay.
So you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's it. Once they're in the campaign that was launched because they actually booked, okay, then they will be automatically removed from the follow-up campaign. So you just need to assume every single person that opts in for that video, you're going to follow up with them, right? You're going to follow up with them to try and get them on your calendar. Whether they clicked a button or not, that really doesn't matter. So let's not overcomplicate it. So as long as they came and filled out the form and watched that, we want to then follow up with them as if we want them to book, right? So we follow up with them to book in that first campaign. When they opt in, or when they actually create a scheduling event, you will automatically add them to a second campaign and then automatically remove them from the first campaign so the follow-up series stops.
Okay.
Got it?
Yep.
That's it.
Okay. So, but if they don't completely take the step of signing up, so they've gone from the video page to the next page where they're given, so they're on the video page, they click the book the calendar, it opens them up into a new page, the calendar page. So they've gone to that page, but they don't take the action of clicking on booking the call.
Yeah, but why are you differentiating between, I mean, I can understand like there could be like this micro difference between somebody, you're assuming that somebody clicked on that button and you think that makes them ultimately more qualified than somebody who didn't click on the button. So you want to follow up with them differently or something, or?
No, because for the other people that don't, they're the people that don't click, the people that watch the video but don't take any action, they're in the chase follow-up. For this person that clicked on the booking link, they should have then gone to the next step of scheduling that call. That person didn't schedule the call. Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is if they didn't schedule that call or click that button, they're still going to remain inside of that chase formula.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, yeah, so even though they jump to that page, they're still going to remain there.
I'm saying so, and I can share here real quick. I mean, you can do that too. I'm just saying I think that you're probably overthinking it.
Okay.
So, but you could have a trigger that was based off of them clicking that next button, that you could say, okay, if they click that button, then they get a slightly different campaign than just the normal chase campaign. I personally think you're overcomplicating it by doing that, though.
Okay.
To me, if somebody fills out the form and watches the video, whether or not they click the button to go to the next page or not, I would have not a care in the world. I would follow up with them as if they haven't booked their appointment.
Okay.
Regardless of whether they click that button or not, I would just follow up with them and just say, hey, it looks like we didn't get your appointment booked. We'd love to hop on a call with you and get that done. So here's the link to do it. Right. And so I would be following up with those people the same way either way. And then again, when they're added to the booking calendar, you can remove them.
Okay. All right. So, I'll look back into that and look at my thought process.
Okay, cool. This was gonna say, if you just disagree with that approach and say, no, I want that button to trigger a different campaign, then all you're doing is you are literally, and it's probably, I just haven't done that, but it's probably on trigger link. So trigger link clicked.
Okay.
My guess is that you would have that button be a trigger link. So when they click on that trigger link, it fires the action of taking them from out of the original chase campaign, adding them to this new follow-up campaign that is based on them clicking the button but not scheduling. And then still at any point, if they actually schedule, you would just have rules that say remove them from either one of those campaigns that they were in.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
The cool thing about Highlevel, one of the things I love about Highlevel and their automations and stuff like this, is it's very just like it's very, to me, just kind of like linear thinking. Like, if a person does this, then I want to add them here, take them away there, and it's like just stack up these these rules. So I'm going to add them to this campaign, I'm going to remove them from that one, remove them from that one, and that way they're no longer getting those messages, and I'm done. It's like just kind of a nice simple layout here, but you can just do so much with these actions. And I know Tom mentioned, you can automatically then put people into custom Facebook audiences based on what pages they land on. I again would not worry about that stuff right now until you've got enough volume coming through there to really justify that. I would be really focused on just getting those basic, just core automation set up for now.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Sure. All right. Let's see here. It's a good question, Derek. I love it. I love seeing people jumping in and using Highlevel to its fullest here. Ooh, what did I do? Hold on. Oh, duh. There we go. Good. All right. Let's see here. Next question. Anybody got a question? Go ahead and chat them in, and we will get to them here. Teresa says, thank you to everyone for the SEO suggestions. Absolutely. Nice job, everybody. Let's hear, while we're waiting for next question to come in, one of the things that I shared with you today as well in my email, if you saw that company Cloud Kitchens, that's the new company from Travis, oh boy, I can't remember how you say his last name, but the founder of Uber. This is his next big bet. And they are building this new shared kitchen infrastructure for virtual restaurants, delivery only, takeout only restaurants, so that you can start a restaurant concept without having the physical presence and without even having to build out your own kitchen or anything like that. It's essentially just like a super technology enabled catering kitchen space. That is specifically designed, though, with all the tech infrastructure for you to launch a takeout restaurant concept. Talk about timing with the whole coronavirus thing. It couldn't have better timing. It's going to be fascinating to see how that trend for the restaurant industry plays out here in the coming months and years. I mean, it was already. I think personally, I think what we're going to see is we're going to see the restaurants that can create a really unique in-person experience are going to do really well. We've got a lot of those restaurants here in San Diego that create really innovative in-person experiences. The architecture, the food, the drinks, everything about it is just really cool to go there and be there. And then I think you're going to have this delivery model that's just, taking off like crazy. And then I think everything in between there is largely going to get hollowed out. I think that there's going to be a lot of restaurants that don't survive. And I also think that there's going to be a lot of concepts that give up a lot of their physical presence and just do the cloud kitchens approach because the economics are going to be so beneficial to do so. It's pretty wild. So I've got, through there, San Diego, I've got a lot of restaurant customers. And I was just talking to one of them the other day, and he was saying, they have some nice pizza shops, and their business, he said, has just exploded over the last few months. Like he said, they can barely keep up with demand because the takeout pizza ordering, because pizza is already known to people as an easy takeout option. Their business has just gone through the roof. So it's going to be super interesting to see how all this stuff plays out. Dave says $10 a day for Teresa for the budget for a birthday campaign on Facebook. Yeah, I think particularly, if you're targeting a local market, yeah, starting with $10 a day and then just kind of seeing, how that goes for you, Teresa, and you can kind of play around with it, but that's a good spot to start. What other questions? Anybody has a question, fire it in or raise your hand if you'd like to chat. And happy to do so. Otherwise, just go ahead and fire it into the chat and we will answer them as they come in. Or we will sit here and stare at each other on video. That's the other option. Awkward silence and awkward staring. Oh my goodness, we've got a lot of people on this call. A lot of people called in, so you've got to have some questions. Don't be afraid to put them in there. Let's see here. Who all on this call was able to take advantage of the local attention engine? Local attention engine was an offer that I just promoted. Who here was able to take advantage of that? Anybody on the call able to grab that? I was gonna say I can show. Yeah, recently promoted. It'll be re-promoted here soon. It was an initial getting it out the door, but I can just show here real quick for anybody who is not super familiar with the ads interface. For Facebook, and of course it's always changing, right? Is one of the big challenges. Oop, hold on here. Let me get my. Oh, cool. Paul says it's awesome. Thank you very much, Paul. I think it's awesome too. I'm a little bit biased, obviously, but it's awesome as in for me, the results that I'm getting from it, and I've done so much Facebook advertising over the years that I'm a process minded guy when it comes to business. Like I like to get things to be as systematic as possible. And here I can put, these are not sales calls. These calls are not meant to be sales calls, but I will put a link in here so you guys can see what the heck I'm talking about at the very least. But the process has been so good for me to be able to get that structure that I crave around the the setup of my campaigns and the testing of the campaigns. My goal with everything in my business, and some businesses are just much harder at this than others. But my goal with any business is I would like to be able to hire a high school student and have them do the work for me. So that, that can be a very hard thing to do in many businesses, and particularly in businesses that are innovating, right? And the whole digital marketing space has been innovating like crazy. So when it comes to businesses that are innovating like crazy, you get a you have that challenge developing process, because as soon as you develop a process, it changes. And so that's a real challenge. But Warren Buffett, I've heard him talk about how he likes businesses where he can get a high schooler to manage the business. That's why he loves Dairy Queen and See's Candies and businesses like that. So in this business, creating structure anywhere you can, to me, is really beneficial. And that's what this process is all about. It's all about creating structure so that you test in a certain sequence, in a certain order, that type of thing to make it work. And so I was just going to show you real quick. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Local attention engine, Dave, is it's my process for getting traffic locally on Facebook and doing it in as systematic and cost-effective way as possible. In a nutshell, that's what it is. So let me just one thing I was just going to show you real quick while we were killing time was just some of the editing features in Facebook Ad Manager are just they've just made stuff much easier than it used to be. So what I'm referring to, and you can see here, I'm actually in the process of launching some new campaigns, which is what has me thinking about this. But if you were to go into like these ad sets here and hit duplicate, and so once you duplicate, and if I go into original campaign and I say let's do 2 more copies, and I do duplicate, and in those copies now, I want to be able to, do editing of the details of the ad sets. It used to be a real pain in the neck to have to flip back and forth. Where is it at here? Let's see. Which ones are my duplicates? Okay, cool. So if I go into, these are both cool. So if I go into these duplicates and I hit edit, what I can do now is I can choose the things that I want to edit over here, and then just pull those up in a new field like this. So I can just pull it up in this separate box. So without having to go into each ad set and each campaign, I mean, if I had created 10 duplicates here, I could just go into all 10 of them and change the ad set name right here. And then I can do that on the ad level. I can do that for any of these different fields that I wanted to adjust. Like I don't have to go into each campaign and make those changes. It's very similar to the way Power Editor used to work, but it's I don't know, to me it's simpler. It's like they've refined the whole process and just made it more elegant. So if you were to go through my local attention engine process, it's 4 phases, and it's a lot of testing. And so what you're doing is you're creating duplicates of ad sets and duplicates of ads, and then making minor changes to them. And so this helps do that in a very efficient way, because I think if you're not used to the ad platform, you could see the process and go, oh geez, there's a bunch of administrative overhead into creating all these ads and going back and forth and editing them and all that. But it's actually super easy in Facebook now. You can just make these changes just like that. So anyway, just wanted to share that again while we're killing some time. So see here, somebody asked about the media sites. Yeah, okay, David, the local media sites. Yes, is there anything in particular that you wanted me to address about that? But I can tell you, I mean, the media sites, as most of you probably know, that's what I do here and there, in San Diego. rather than a typical agency, right? I've got my media site, and that media site is really geared towards getting the attention of small businesses, right? And getting those small businesses seeing me as a vehicle to reach their customers. So I started it with the idea of, advertising was the most understood model of how to reach customers versus agency services, right? And all the other technology that's being created. Small businesses, for the most part, don't understand that stuff, but they understand advertising. So I started the media business with the idea of, well, advertising is the easiest service to sell because they already understand it. It's very simple. It's, pay X dollars, get, this exposure. But I also knew that the advertising business was changing dramatically. The media business was changing dramatically, and that it was going to require innovation around digital and around digital services, I thought, to be successful in the future. So that's why I started it, is because I thought, well, I can play in that world. I understand the digital. I understand the tech innovation that's going on there. A lot of these old school publishers don't. So that was the kind of initial thesis behind the idea and getting it started. And then what I am doing now, and I'm more excited about that business now than ever. And here's why. One, because a lot of the traditional media are really suffering now, because their advertising dollars have gone away from the local businesses, right? So they have much more expensive overhead than I do. And so I'm able to survive. A lot of them are not surviving. And then the other reason, that I'll share with you guys here soon, but I've got some plans in place for services via Highlevel, as well as another platform that are going to allow me to offer some really, really cool services to small businesses that I think are going to allow that business to really take off. And I think it will. I think it will then be very representative of what I think the future of local media is really all about. I've laid a good foundation, and I've scratched the surface of what's possible, but I think that it's now going to be much more to what I originally envisioned doing with it. And to sum that up, I want to be able to offer more of these digital capabilities through my media platform for those individual small businesses. So, things like, deals or SMS, list building and things like that. Somebody was asking my site. It's right there. If you just go, just type that in, that would take you to it. For the media site, where do you recommend looking for a part-time VA in the Philippines to curate my content? I would recommend that you go to, oh man, it's been so long since I've had to hire someone cold, David, that the URL is escaping my mind. Somebody type in some of the online jobs PH. There we go. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Rosie. Yeah, onlinejobs.ph. That's the one. That's what I would recommend. That's where I've always had good luck. The other place that I always had good luck was Craigslist. I don't know if that's still even a thing. It's been so long since I've used it over there. If that's still a thing over there, I would try that too. The great thing about hiring in the Philippines, in my experience, is that once you've found one good person, you've essentially got access to as many good people as you want. Because that one good person will introduce you to family members and close friends that they know are also good, hard workers and responsible, and they'll pull them in. Like once they've found somebody that treats them well, they're going to work to help you get other people, so they're employing more people that they know. So that's what's really worked for me. Is anytime I need to hire somebody new, I just go to my lead person and I just say, hey, look, we could use somebody else for this type of work. Do you have somebody? And she always does. So onlinejobs.ph, though, is where I originally found her. And there's some other resources coming in there. Okay, David, so your description of your concept of local media is right on target. I'm trying to get a handle on how to build a model similar to their San Diego. Okay, cool. So David, I mean, you know I have my training program on this, and that walks you through my, from a systems and strategy perspective, how I've done it and how I continue to do it to this day. So you have that as a resource. The other thing, though, that I would just say is what I have learned in this business over time is that there's so many cool opportunities, one, and two, I would very much consider narrowing down versus what I did. What I've done is I've gone after the whole market of San Diego. I've essentially, said we are all about San Diego restaurants, things to do, all that type of stuff, right? Versus what you could do and have a great deal of success doing is just focus on restaurants, just focus on real estate, just focus on, a number of other things that are big enough to focus on. But you could just pick, a more focused theme than I did. And that would just allow the whole thing to be a little bit more manageable. The other thing that you can do is that you don't have to start all of the media like I did at once. So I jumped in, started a website, Instagram account, Facebook page, email, newsletter, everything, day one. You don't have to do that. And I mentioned this before that if I were starting over today, like if you just said, hey, Mike, start up a second media property, I would focus on a tighter topic area. So just restaurants, just real estate, whatever. And then I would just start with Instagram and email newsletter. Those would be the two things that I would do to start. And then based on my market and my resources and things like that, then I would consider building out into a full-on website and all that good stuff. But man, I just got to tell you, and I know this is different market by market, but Instagram is just where it's at out here. Like that is where all of the action is. And so if you look at my Instagram account for there San Diego, you'll see that's where all of our action is. Our Instagram stories, like we are just constantly posting content, and then just getting tons of engagement in that. And then Dave says, so then the question is sell then the email newsletter? Yeah, so selling ad spots in that email newsletter is the easiest thing that I've sold in the local media space. Businesses just understand email. They see my email newsletter hit their inbox every week and they get it. They're just like, oh, okay. I'll place an ad there. People will click on it, right? Instagram, there's still a lot of businesses that just don't really fully understand it yet, and how could that help them? More innovative businesses do, of course, but there's a lot of businesses owned by a little bit older generation, that don't keep up with all the digital marketing stuff. That Instagram still seems like a kind of a weird playground for the kids. So selling an ad in the email newsletter is just super easy. Let's see here. Dave says, I have a local media site, but I'm not getting the results I want. It's a local news and event site, but it's difficult to get businesses interested. So Dave, happy to talk about it if you'd like to talk about it and give me some more details, or I can just kind of generally give you my thoughts on what I would do to, yeah, go ahead and unmute yourself, Dave, whenever you're ready. I don't hear, I see you're unmuted, but it seems like maybe your microphone isn't working. Yeah, I can't hear you. While you're figuring that out here, Jason says, would you just focus on one topic or a smaller community within a bigger city? No, Jason, I would focus on one topic. I mean, the media business is reliant on lots of eyeballs, right? The more eyeballs you have, the more valuable your business is. So you don't want to narrow too much geographically. You want to have as much audience as you possibly can. So I would keep it a topic, but broader. And in fact, if you just went one topic, I would look at how you could quickly stamp that out into multiple cities. That's where you really get scale in this business.
You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep.
Okay. So I have a local news and event site, and what I do is I curate content from local. It's just specialized in a local city, and I take content from typically a newspaper site, and then I just curate the content. I actually just summarize, not even summarize. I just take like the first paragraph, and then I link to the article on the news site.
Yep, I love it.
And then I post it. And then I do local events for like any business that has an event going on. I post the event, and then that goes to Facebook.
Cool.
Drives the traffic to the site.
Good. And so you're having a hard time getting traction with advertisers?
Yeah.
And what are you doing to get traffic to the site?
I'm running. So I'm actually trying to build up the Facebook page by running contests.
Cool. How many do you have any idea what your monthly traffic is and how many people you have on your newsletter list and to your Facebook page?
Well, I'm not doing the newsletter part. That's maybe the component I'm missing. Yeah, so I'm not building a list from it and actually sending it. I imagine I would just send a summary of the news articles from the week and then do advertising in the newsletter. Is that the plan?
Yep, it's super easy. Yeah. So, I mean, my two things that I would tell you is that one, selling to them is really just about audience size and engagement. So you just need to be tracking those metrics. We have this many visitors every month. We get this kind of engagement on our site. Like that's the critical thing, is you want to be able to show them we have eyeballs, right? That's what they're paying for is eyeballs. So so that's the important thing, is that you've got to have that like in a presentation to be able to send to people and say, hey, look, here's all our stats, so that you know what you're getting from an advertising perspective. That's the biggest thing. And then depending on your sales process, I would have to look at that to see kind of how you're selling. But the proactive outreach of, we have these ad spots available for this time period, and then once they're gone, selling them like inventory that expires, because it really does. Like, we've got this ad to run this weekend on our homepage or whatever, and that ad costs X dollars, and once it's gone, it's gone. So just selling as if you have an expiring asset that people either are going to get their hands on, or the opportunity is going to be lost, is important in media.
So this scarcity.
Yeah, exactly.
What about Instagram? Are you driving a lot of traffic to your site from Instagram?
Not a lot of traffic to our site from Instagram. We share our articles in our Instagram story. So if we have popular articles, we'll share them in the Instagram story and link to them, because we can link to them from there. So that gets us some traffic for sure. It's not like a major source of traffic for us. Instagram is really primarily about the engagement and the conversation, and just another channel to have an audience and have that attention, really. But we do. I mean, we post our articles on there. Not all of them, but a handful of articles each week to drive people back to our site.
So you're using Instagram as another media source, then?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Exactly. So depending on your bandwidth and your resources, I would highly recommend. The other thing I'd have to look at, Dave, is just really understand like how you're structuring your packages, because that's super important in selling to small businesses. Like how have you defined them to make them easy for somebody to understand and buy or not?
I can send it over to you if you want.
Yeah, sure. So these are all the things that kind of play into it. While you're doing that, let's just hear. Don says, "Are your ad charges on there, San Diego, based on number of email subscribers or visitors to your site, or both?" So if you're running an ad, so like an ad in my newsletter, that's based off of number of subscribers. We have 20,000 subscribers, we get this open rate, that type of thing. If you are advertising on our site, and I say advertising because I don't have a traditional like display advertising model, I have a content promotion model. So I'll write up a cool article about your business, I'll make sure it's got the catchy headline and all the good imagery and all that type of stuff, and then I'll guarantee you impressions. So I'll guarantee you 10,000 impressions to that article, 20,000 impressions to that article, that type of thing. So it's more of a native advertising model. So it's less about, even though there's some perception by people of it's the amount of people who are seeing my site. It's really not, because that's totally in my control, right? Because I can boost their article. So they pay me $500 to get their article seen 5,000 times. If my site isn't producing enough traffic, I just boost their article using Facebook ads to make sure that I hit my performance guarantee. So they're going to get their traffic one way or the other. So that's one of the really cool things about the model, is that even if my audience size was only 20,000 people this month, I could still promise you 100,000 people will see your article if that's what you want, because I'll just use Facebook ads to make sure I get the traffic, or Google retargeting, or whatever you want to do, if that makes sense to you. Let's see here, Dave. Did you? Oh, I can actually turn on screen sharing for you if you want to show your screen, or if you want to send me a link, or.
I'm pulling it up now. It's on Canva. I have to get my password.
Let's see here. While you're doing that, Jimmy says, "Here's a local media site that I came across last month that focuses on hop beer in LA. They sell promo videos, social media content, and long form videos." Hopped LA. Yeah, that's awesome. We used to have one similar to this in San Diego, but the guy didn't survive. I think he was more into the beer than he was the business. And he certainly drank a lot of free beer, which might have impacted his business. But yeah, so I mean, that's a very niche topic. I personally would not go that niche unless I was going like nationwide with it, right? Because that's very niche. There's not a lot of people in any market that really care enough about craft beer to get overly excited about it, right? And to read and really engage with media about it. So, but there's a great opportunity for that nationwide. So what I would do is I would take that concept and I would just open it up nationwide. You could still have local angles to it. So you could have Hopped LA, Hopped SF, Hopped SD, Hopped NYC, Hopped, whatever. And that's what a lot of the biggest media companies have done. But if you're getting that niche down, for me, the only reason I would do that is if I already had some sort of association with the industry, and that was just going to help me market whatever I had already in that industry. So as an example, if I was a brewery, I would start Hopped LA. If I was a brewery in LA, I would start Hopped LA, because that would make me like the center of the whole industry. And I could promote my brewery really well through that. If I was selling services to breweries, so if you were a marketing agency focused on breweries, I would absolutely start Hopped LA. That would be the best marketing vehicle you can possibly do, right? That is so much better than being a salesperson. You would have the best marketing piece in the industry to sell your services. That's a concept that I've been telling people in the agency world for a long time to do, but not that many people listen to me. But if you were an agency helping breweries and you owned Hop to LA, you would crush any other agencies that wanted to try and sell the breweries because they don't have Hop to LA. You would kill it, right? So it's a powerful concept. I would just make sure you know why you're niching down that much, right? Jason says, about how much does the FB boost or RT cost you, or retargeting cost you $100, $200 or less? Well, Jason, that's pretty much based on a CPM basis, right? So locally, for CPMs, I mean, you can get, $5, CPMs, or, just depends on what you're targeting, obviously. But I base it on a cost per thousand basis, so that I always make up. Typically, I always want to make sure I have at least, at the most, like a 35% cost of goods sold. So if I was charging 1,000, I would want to make sure that even if I had to do 100% paid advertising to fulfill your traffic, that it wouldn't cost me more than like $350. Okay, so the cool thing is, once you build up your media asset, though, I can get a lot of that traffic without investing any additional money, because I've already got a lot of traffic to my site or to, my newsletter or whatever. So I can get them a lot of traffic right out of the gate without having to spend money. And then I just make up for the rest of that traffic by spending to guarantee that I hit those targets. Okay. Kate says it's a niche directory site, not really a media site. Yeah. Let's see here. Dave says, what type of webcam? Dave, this is my iPhone. So I'm using my iPhone as the camera. Yeah. Exactly, Jason. That's exactly right. Calculate the worst case scenario based on if you have to start from scratch. It's essentially like, and here's the other thing about the media model, that it's like when people get this, it's usually like a serious breakthrough aha moment for them. You are advertising your own site with their money. You understand what I'm saying? Like, when I put together that content for them, that content is their San Diego content. So all of their advertising dollars are being spent to drive people to my site. So every advertiser that pays me money, my site grows. My asset gets better and better and better, because their advertising dollars are being used to promote my site. Okay, I'm not running campaigns for their individual businesses. I'm not doing ads. Yes, leverage, exactly. I'm not doing ads. I'm not doing campaign management. Okay, I am not doing ad management. So somebody's giving me their URLs and their creatives, and I'm just managing. I'm not doing that. No way. I am running my content. They are paying me. Okay. Kate says, to clarify, you have them pay you to write an article and boost the post? Exactly. Yeah, oftentimes, Kate, they're providing me the content very often, but I have full editorial control, right? So I will tweak the content, change it up however I want to, and they know that. And of course, you're obviously gonna put something appealing together for your client and make sure that they're happy with it. But I don't run like blatant, obnoxious press release things, right? I write good quality content and make sure it's going to engage the audience properly. Okay, cool. So Dave, do you mind if I share this, Dave?
Sure.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, so Dave's got a media kit here. Let me pull it up so you guys can see. Nice. So he's got a media kit right here. And He's got, so, okay, 4,220 subscribers, 1,967 followers, page reach of 1.7 million. Oh, these aren't your numbers though, Dave, are they? These are like,
No.
okay, cool. Viral giveaway contest, 199. Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that this is a good, format. Local media services package, post one post per month on our Facebook page, featured. Yeah. So the big difference between what I'm doing, Dave, and what this is doing is that you're on these packages up above here. You're not guaranteeing them visibility.
Okay.
So that's a big difference, because unless you're able to say, hey, look, we're the New York Times, we've got 100 million people reading our content every day, like, you're going to get a ton of visibility. If you're smaller, you need to be able to quantify it a little bit more. So you need to be able to say, hey, look, we're going to get you this kind of visibility.
So just put in that they'll get in front of X number of people, like basically what you were saying earlier.
Yeah, I would like guarantee, your content will get X impressions. Like, that's how detailed I would get. Now, on your social posts, this is okay. I mean, $49 per post, $119 for 3 posts. That's okay to just have that. You don't have to do guaranteed impressions for that. You need to have the followers to substantiate why they're paying you, right? So you just got to make sure that you're really building up that presence.
Okay. And then as I add more followers, then increase the price.
Yep. All exactly. Right. Yep, exactly. And with small businesses, you're going to hit a limit. With bigger businesses, the limit goes up much higher, right? So there's really two markets that I would suggest that you sell to. So one is you sell to all the mom and pops, but then 2, I suggest that you sell to bigger companies in your area that would like to do bigger sponsorship packages. So there's a bank in your area, an auto dealership in your area that, they'll cut a $10,000 check. So what you do is you put together a little package for them, and you'd say, hey, look, over the course of the next 3 months, you're going to get a spot in our newsletter every other week. You're going to get, 20 guaranteed social posts. You're going to get, blah, blah, blah. You're going to have your banner up on our site in rotation with no more than 2 other advertisers. So you're going to have all of these benefits, and that's $10,000 for the quarter, right? So that's the other way to really kind of package up and sell.
What level would you be at to go after those larger advertisers?
What level in terms of visibility? Like,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What market are you in?
What market? You mean?
Like geographic? What city?
Oh, Yorba Linda.
Yorba Linda. How many people are in Yorba Linda?
About 68,000.
68,000. I mean, honestly, if you had even just, I can tell you, when I started selling any sort of packages in San Diego, I had 1,000 people on my email list, and I had like 5,000 Facebook fans. So on a percentage basis in this market, that's tiny, right?
Right.
So I think in that market, with how small that market is, I mean, man, if I had 1,000 people on my list and a few thousand fans on my Facebook page, I'd be out there getting after it.
Okay.
Certainly.
What about the larger? Well, my plan is to do multi-cities, just have one of these in several different cities.
Yeah. And
then I guess I could tie them together. I haven't really thought that plan through, but
yeah. So the appeal to that then is those bigger advertisers, like the banks and auto dealerships and stuff like that. They're oftentimes regional advertisers, right? The auto dealership oftentimes has auto dealerships in a few cities. The bank has locations all over the area. The furniture stores, things like that. They have furniture stores in multiple cities. So that's where you can get that regional advertising appeal. And that's good because the thing about the advertising business is that you've got the real small businesses, but then the big businesses are the ones that really spend the money.
Mm-hmm.
And for a big business to or to manage doing advertisement in a bunch of little localized places is a pain in the neck, right? That's a pain. If I'm the advertising manager and I have to go to all these little media spots and buy all these little media things, like it's annoying to them. That
Right.
it's too much work. Versus the reason why big agencies have such success is because they're able to go to the chief marketing officer of that brand and just say, hey, look, we take care of all that nonsense for you. You just cut us a check for $1 million and we'll make sure that you're in all the places you need to be in. And so that CMO gets to be pretty lazy about it and just go, oh yeah, I'll write my $1 million check, and get taken to nice dinners and golf courses for the rest of the year. So that's the appeal to you when you get a regional media platform like that, is that's exactly what you can do, is you can make that pitch to those regional advertisers much more clearly.
Okay. So now I can say, all right, I can put you in all these different cities where we have visibility, and you just pay a flat fee.
Mm-hmm.
Or will you do it quarterly, or?
Yeah, I would do it. I would do it quarterly. I would have an annual option. So maybe it's
Give them a
$5,000
discount if they do it.
a quarter, or $12,000 for the year, or $15,000 for the year type of thing.
Okay. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Get a few of those.
Absolutely. Cool. Good questions. Let's see here. Kathleen, maybe you've said this already, but where are you getting your articles written? My primary source is PR firms just sending them to me, Kathleen. So they've got their clients, and those clients want exposure, and it's their job to get exposure. So they just write articles and send them to me. Right now stuff is slow. So I get 10 of those a day. When the market was like normal, I was getting 50 a day, probably. And so I would pick and choose between the ones that I actually want to promote, and then send those to my team, and my team edits them. I never just take what a PR firm gives me and just publish it. We always edit it. And then if somebody is paying us, so a customer is paying us and say, hey, we want exposure for our event or our new brand or whatever, then that's usually more of us writing it from scratch, because most small businesses don't really have any understanding of how to create content. And then the third scenario is that I just write content to get me traffic, to get me visibility. So as a marketer, I'm just going, okay, what's an article topic that here in San Diego is going to get my site a bunch of visibility? So I stay relevant. I stay in front of the market, all the time. So you can see, if you go to our site right now, we've got a site. The top article on there is, we asked our Instagram fam to tell us their best pick for pizza in San Diego. So that is an article that we created. We created the engagement on our Instagram account first, and then we created this article purely because we know people get all crazy about their pizza, and pizza is in crazy high demand right now. And so, I'm sharing that pizza article purely to get us traffic. And you can see this super simple article. All I'm doing is just embedding Instagram images from all these different pizza places and just putting them in a big list. But these listicle articles like this kill it. People love them. So that's those are really. Oops, hold on one second. Sorry, gang. I forgot I'm showing the wrong screen. Here we go. So it's just. Hold on here. Okay, cool. So it's just, this, right? If you go to our homepage, we asked our Instagram fam to tell us their pick for best pizza in San Diego. And then it's just a big listicle article like this. And I create these purely to get engagement and traffic. Okay. You can see, like this one, like here are the San Diego parks where you can legally drink alcohol. I mean, I've been getting, 3-cent clicks on that for 2 years. It's a great piece of content to promote. Jason says, would you see any value in starting a podcast that promotes media? Oh, totally. Absolutely. Local podcasts are blowing up. Absolutely. Selling podcast sponsorship and stuff like that. It's a great opportunity. I have not done it yet, but it's a great opportunity. And I haven't done it yet just out of, capacity, right? Just kind of keeping up with stuff. But it's a great model. Great idea. Jason says, oh, schnizzle, Mike. I just had a breakthrough moment combining another idea I had with this media model. Will absolutely crush it. Awesome. Good. Good. I love breakthroughs. That's what it's all about. I have had breakthroughs related to this model too, that are just super exciting to me. So I'm loving it and will continue to love it. And the cool thing about this business is like I would pretty much do this for free anyway, because the benefits in my community of having a site like this are just so great. Like the free dinners and the free events and all that type of stuff that you get to go and do. It's a great time. It's a really cool way to be a part of your community. If I was a real estate agent, and that's one of the things I've actually thought about doing, I've actually thought about getting into real estate personally, just because my media presence here, I would have a huge advantage over other people in the real estate industry. The people in the real estate industry, generally speaking, not all of them, generally speaking, are sorry marketers. And I drool over those big commissions. Like it would just be so easy for me to get a ton of attention to a house that's for sale using my media property. It's crazy. It's funny. Somebody says I crank out a lot of content. Our content production is way down because right now there's just not a lot going on. So our content production is way down. I'm producing, maybe we're posting 5, 6, 7 pieces of content a week right now, where I used to do that a day. So Patrick says, good face for real estate. Thanks. You'll see me on shopping carts and grocery stores everywhere coming soon. Just kidding. I would never freaking do that. Yes, these are recorded and they're actually put up on my YouTube account. Okay. So head over to YouTube, please, and subscribe to the account. Here, let me get you the channel details so that you can get subscribed. But if you go over to my channel right here, and you'll see I've got the playlist, and there is an office hours playlist right here. And so you can go and subscribe to my channel, and you can obviously subscribe to or you can view the different playlists and stuff like that. But that's where they're at. So they're all up there, and I'll start sharing them more publicly, on Facebook and all that good stuff as well. But that is where they are. Where was I at? There we go. Cool. All right. We are an hour and 15 into it, which my rule is I cut these at an hour now because it's so easy. I love to talk with you guys and I can sit on here forever and do this, but I've got to get my work done. So I've got to make sure and cap these things. So if there's one more question, I'll take one more question, fire it in. Otherwise, here we go. When you were first getting started with Their San Diego and reaching out to people to advertise, what did you find to be most effective? Okay, cool. So this is a good one. Matt, so the single best way to get more advertisers for your media property is to get a lot of attention to your media property. So the big mistake that I see people make is this chicken and the egg thing. They want to get advertisers so that then they can invest that into their media site to get more traffic, and they expect that that's the way it's going to work. It's the opposite. So what I did right was I just started creating and promoting content as if I've got my media site, like I'm not waiting for anybody to tell me I'm a media site. Go out there, start creating content, promoting content, investing in your own asset so that momentum comes. And what happens is the market sees the momentum. And it was so funny. I'll remember the first day I got a call from a PR firm here in San Diego. Yes, giveaways, absolutely, Dave, were really successful for me. So the first time I got a call from a PR firm, and this, gal calls me up and she said, can I take you out to lunch? And I'm like, sure, yeah, great. So we go out to lunch, and she, it's so funny. We sit down and she goes, all right, who the hell are you and where did you come from? And I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And she's like, I don't know about this There San Diego thing, but everybody in the industry is talking about it. You didn't exist like a month ago, and now you're everywhere. And I was like, oh, I was like, great. People are seeing this, right? So all of a sudden, all these PR firms, which it's their job to get media attention to their clients, is, all of a sudden they're all over me. So selling through them was a very natural progression, right? Because they're like, how do I get my clients into your site? And so it was a very easy conversation to say, well, I'm happy to put your clients on my site. Give me good content and I'll put it on there. And then you understand how the world of digital media works, Mr. or Mrs. PR person. If you want to get them a bunch of exposure, let me know and I'll get them exposure. We'll do ads and we'll do, put them in our newsletter and all that type of stuff. And so that allowed us to then just naturally sell the packages to crank it up. So that's one way. And then the other way, giveaways were great. Giveaways got us a ton of traffic, built our list very, very quickly. And then that's also a great way of getting your foot in the door with businesses, because you can approach them and say, hey, look, we're giving away, products and building your brand and all that type of stuff, giving you a ton of visibility on our social media accounts. And so that's a very straightforward way to get into accounts and sell some services as well. So those are the two fastest ways to get it going. Okay. But again, with media, it's all about being the sun, right? You want to be the sun. You want people attracted to the sun, right? So you've got to make yourself kind of the center of the universe a little bit and get as much attention as you can. That's what it's all about. Okay. Awesome, everybody. Thank you very much for joining the office hours. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. So if you have any additional questions, please just go ahead and put them in the Facebook group. Okay. Go to the Leverage for Entrepreneurs Facebook group. And I'm always, in there responding to questions and stuff like that. So go ahead and fire them in there as well. And I will get the replay of this posted up on YouTube here very quickly. And we will get that out to you. Don says, totally off topic, does the Transamerica building in San Diego still have the piano player in the lobby? The Transamerica building, isn't the Transamerica, aren't you thinking, that's the one in San Francisco, isn't it? The pyramid one? I think, right? In San Diego, it's, I don't think there's yeah, San Francisco. And I don't know, I love that building though, but I haven't been to San Francisco in about 5 years. I need to get back up there once all this coronavirus stuff calms down. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great day. I appreciate you. Appreciate your time and attention and business. And we will see you on the next office hours call. All right, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.